On a ship at sea, a 17-year-old named Kotozu Kotoha, known as the Hidden Devil of the Whispering Blood and feared throughout Mexico, was being addressed by a man named Rafa. Rafa informed Kotoha that their organization's executives considered him a dangerous element, the Whisperer, and had decided to sell him to America for $2 billion because he knew too many secrets of the underground world. Kotoha, chained and resigned, questioned why Rafa, the boss's nephew, would tell him this, understanding that begging for his life would be futile as long as the Whisperer existed. Rafa confirmed Kotoha would not be saved but then surprisingly revealed his personal wish to send Kotoha back to Japan, which Kotoha interpreted as further proof of his hopeless situation. Kotoha, identifying himself as the Whisperer capable of reading hearts, knew they were isolated in the Pacific with 80 armed mafia members on board and that his GPS-tracked handcuffs would alert them if broken. He felt begging was useless, unlike a nearby corpse. He believed dreams and hope were pointless, and his fate was sealed. As Rafa offered him candy for the long boat trip, Rafa mused that Kotoha was the same age as his son who had died 10 years prior. Kotoha reflected on his own unreasonable fate, recalling his kidnapping 2 years earlier when he was a second-year middle school student taken to Mexico and forced to use his uncontrollable mind-reading ability for interrogations, all while wishing he could be a normal high school student. Suddenly, a girl chained next to him, whom Kotoha had presumed dead, spoke up asking for candy. Shocked that she was alive, Kotoha hesitated when she asked him to feed it to her mouth-to-mouth due to his cuffed hands, but he complied after she pleaded, saying the energy from the candy would give her hope. This unexpected first kiss surprised Kotoha. The girl thanked him for bringing her back to life and then introduced herself as a demon lord, who was caught after making enemies and fainting from hunger. Kotoha found her claim outlandish, thinking her just another disturbed captive. The demon lord, however, said Kotoha's presence gave her strength to fight, speaking in a way that reminded him of the light novels she loved from Japan, where everyday life seemed like a dream. When she asked about his dream, Kotoha admitted he simply wanted to experience youth like a light novel protagonist. The girl understood, and after teasing him about playing the heroine, she expressed her belief that dreams fill people with hope and that theirs would come true if they escaped. Kotoha countered that hope was pointless and dreams unattainable, but the girl declared she wouldn't give up because she had her own dream. Their conversation was interrupted by men, one of whom, addressing Kotoha as Whisperer, grabbed the girl, surprised to find her as merchandise. As the man threatened Kotoha with more torture, Kotoha, looking at the girl, said he was fine. In a shocking turn, the girl unleashed dark energy, impaling the man and declaring herself the demon lord, one who opposes the world, will never be defeated, and will not bend to the light. The dark energy exploded outwards, and Kotoha watched in horror as shadow spikes instantly appeared, killing the man. The demon lord then revealed her dream, to destroy the world and the entire universe, wondering how great it would be if all life disappeared. Kotoha was terrified, feeling an overwhelming agony and not wanting to die as he questioned what she truly was. The demon lord looked at him, stating he was also one of the monsters, those who couldn't become human but longed to be, and that he was something destined to end. Despite the terror, Kotoha found a new resolve, declaring his belief that dreams can come true and that he would keep fighting. The demon lord affirmed her own commitment to her dream, no matter the sacrifice, and asked Kotoha about his stance. Kotoha reflected on his weakness and how he had accepted despair as his fate, recalling his captor's cruel manipulations. The demon lord encouraged him, saying this could be the start of his light novel story, and that he wasn't a slave to fate if he fought back. She then posed a challenge, a competition to see if he would reach his youth first or if she would reach the end first. With a farewell, she leaped from the exploding ship, telling him to do his best even as enemies. Kotoha realized her unyielding spirit was why she shone so brightly. He understood that she, too, had faced despair but kept smiling and hoping. Regretting not realizing this sooner, especially with his abilities, he admitted he also had dreams and hope and wanted to be like her as he fell into the ocean. Submerged, Kotoha remembered his desire to crush the despair blocking hope. He struggled to the surface, coughing, now determined to live, a stark contrast to his earlier resignation. He resolved to change and become stronger, reaffirming his dreams of a normal life, love, and experiencing youth like a protagonist. Alone in the stormy sea, he momentarily despaired, feeling he could never achieve it. Yet, he then resolved that if he got another chance, he would never give up on hope and would break fate itself. Meanwhile, the demon lord observed from afar, acknowledging that fate had interfered with their intended battle but deciding not to intervene further, stating the end had just begun again. She wondered what kind of end Kotoha would reach. In a moment of clarity or vision, Kotoha vowed to become the protagonist he always admired. Then, a magical scene unfolded as a goddess-like figure appeared. Kotoha, finding himself saved, asked a girl in a maid outfit if she was an angel. She welcomed him to the temple of fate and the goddess of reincarnation, introducing herself simply as a maid and addressing him by his full name, Kotozu Kotohakin. Kotoha remembered his childhood when he was left at a nearby temple and the head priest, a former pro boxer, taught him boxing. The priest had emphasized that even when people go through hard times and become unpleasant, Kotoha must stay a good person. He had made Kotoha promise to stay pure, no matter the darkness, so he could be happy, offering to teach him all the strength he needed for that purpose. Reflecting on this, Kotoha felt remorse, thinking, "Sorry, old man," as he recalled being beaten, scared, and ultimately giving in to threats to help the mafia, believing someone like him couldn't change fate and that he never should have made that promise. Suddenly, Kotoha found himself in a vast, otherworldly structure, wondering if he was dreaming and questioning what this temple of the goddess of fate and reincarnation was. He was pretty sure he had just drowned in the ocean. The maid who had greeted him before introduced herself as Luna and offered to escort him to the goddess. They ascended a grand staircase towards a colossal, radiant woman. The woman greeted Kotozu Kotoha-san, introducing herself as the goddess Bergen. Much to Kotoha's disbelief, Goddess Bergen explained that she summons the souls of the deceased to grant a certain wish and that she had summoned Kotoha for this purpose. With a snap of her fingers, a large panel with inscribed text appeared, and Luna explained that the goddess had one wish, for Kotoha, with his brilliant courage, to save a world. Kotoha immediately recognized this as a reincarnation into another world scenario. The goddess, amused by how quickly young people caught on, offered to grant him any skill of his choosing if he accepted, acknowledging Kotoha's thought that his life was over and he had given up. The goddess then presented a multitude of skill options, ranging from super EXP gain and immortality to more esoteric abilities like skill duplication, teleportation, and even hypnosis or invisibility if he was into lewd stuff. Kotoha, observing her, felt she wasn't lying and sensed no malice, making him consider if this was a real Isekai reincarnation. He pondered if he could truly start his life over and achieve a fate where dreams and hopes could come true. When the goddess expressed surprise that he didn't gladly accept immediately, Kotoha asked for a moment to think, and Luna assured him it was an important decision and he should take his time. As they stood on a balcony, Kotoha apologized to Luna for dragging her along. Luna, however, suddenly turned to him, saying she couldn't hold back anymore and asked if she could be a little rude. She then pulled out a cigarette and lit it, much to Kotoha's surprise, who remarked that a cigarette suited a downer maid. Luna, after a satisfying puff, explained that people like him came to the temple about 4 or 5 times a month, as the goddess was quite picky about whom she picked. When Kotoha asked how she knew his name and past, Luna revealed that with the goddess's power, she could quickly learn the life story of the person summoned and noted that Kotoha was the first mind reader she had met. She confirmed she knew what he did for the mafia, understanding he was forced and didn't do it by choice. Kotoha lamented that he didn't resist like a demon lord but simply obeyed, making many people unhappy and feeling his fate was to go to hell, questioning if it was okay for him to have such a reincarnation opportunity. Luna reassured him, saying he had no choice because he was still just a kid. She then gently touched his face, telling him he shouldn't keep thinking only about sad things, and called him a sad kid who had been through so much hardship and deserved to be happy, words that reminded Kotoha of the old priest. Flustered that Kotoha had read her heart, Luna tried to downplay her concern, while Kotoha, touched, realized how long it had been since someone wished him happiness, even if it was out of sympathy. He thanked Luna, saying he had made up his mind and made a promise. Filled with new resolve, Kotoha declared that he wouldn't despair over fate, would believe in himself once more, and make his dreams come true. He vowed to become a good person and, to make up for the terrible things he'd done, save many people in the other world to accumulate virtue. He aspired to be someone who could proudly live their youth and be supported by many people, asking Luna to watch over him. Luna readily agreed, stating it was the role of adults to watch over children and that she would be cheering for him. Kotoha informed Goddess Bergen that he didn't need any special skills and simply wished to experience a normal youth. The goddess understood and agreed to remove his mind-reading ability, reincarnating him as someone without powers. She wished Korozu-san a wonderful second life, and as Kotoha expressed his gratitude and prepared to depart through a dimensional gate, the goddess prompted Luna to see him off. Just as Kotoha approached the gate, Luna urgently shouted for him not to go through, revealing that the entire reincarnation was a lie and a trap created by the goddess. Bergen, maintaining her composure, urged Kotoha to proceed quickly and questioned Luna, asking if the maid even understood what she was doing. Luna, with newfound resolve, affirmed that Kotoha was right, choosing to defy the goddess. She tearfully reflected that being forced to do something and choosing to do it were essentially the same, and declared her own desire to be a good person before desperately yelling at Kotoha to run. Immediately, shadowy tendrils erupted from the goddess, impaling Luna as Kotoha watched in horror. Luna was brutally destroyed before Kotoha's eyes. The goddess Bergen let out a chilling laugh, remarking that Luna never learned, no matter how many times she tried this, and that while she found Luna amusing and kept her by her side, someone who could read minds like Kotoha was too much for the maid to handle. Bergen then declared the little sideshow over, stating they would resume the reincarnation process and that the pioneers, who had passed through the gate before him, were eagerly waiting. She showed Kotoha visions of these souls, trapped in an eternal dream of reincarnation, their power continuously being offered to her, and she chillingly invited Kotoha to dream a happy dream with them too. As Kotoha's body began to painfully melt and merge with the gate, he screamed in despair, realizing this was just like when he had died before. The goddess urged him to give up everything and surrender to despair, telling him that once he was only a soul, he would forget all pain and suffering. She taunted him, asserting that fate can never be changed, hope is merely an illusion for those escaping reality, and questioned if he truly believed he was the hero of a story. Declaring that his story ended there and youth would never come to him, Bergen watched as Kotoha, consumed by agony, questioned if this was truly his end, feeling the crushing weight of unchangeable fate. Suddenly, a powerful shockwave erupted. A new, winged girl wielding a guitar-like weapon smashed down, landing protectively near Kotoha. The goddess Bergen, enraged, shrieked at the newcomer, calling her wretched human scum for daring to interfere with her fate. The winged girl, though claiming not to know who the goddess was, retorted that a mere god shouldn't speak of her dreams and defiantly raised her head. Almost simultaneously, another girl armed with a large cannon appeared beside Kotoha, asking if the civilian was all right and hurt, reassuring him not to be afraid as they were allies who had come to his rescue. The winged guitar girl advised Kotoha to be careful not to get caught up in the ensuing fight, explaining that their captain didn't know how to hold back, before launching herself at the goddess. Bergen cried out in disbelief, stating it was impossible for humans to harm a god with their power and demanding to know what her attacker was. The winged girl unleashed a devastating attack she called Star Shatter, which engulfed and completely shattered the goddess Bergen, who cried out, "No way," as she disintegrated. Witnessing this, Kotoha was left amazed, realizing that fate could indeed be changed. He saw that these kids were totally different from him, possessing a strength to fight that he lacked, a strength that could have saved Luna. They reminded him of the demon lord, only looking at hope. He recognized them as the kind of protagonists he had always wanted to be in a light novel and, filled with a desperate need to understand, asked them who they exactly were. The winged guitar girl explained that they were members of an organization that protects this world from the apocalypse. They take up firearms, fight to defeat the apocalypse and protect the world, all to secure just a little time to make their dreams come true, calling themselves a bunch of fools risking their lives for that hope. She then proudly declared, "We are the Apocalypse Stagnation Committee," as her two companions stood resolutely with her.